If you've got questions, please shoot. Richmond is ready, or Richie, as he asked us to call him, is ready to take questions. And I'll be surprised if we have questions, but I still look forward to yeah, I still look forward to some questions. And for me, I think I may start us off. Richmond, I was wondering, you talked about SAS, you talked about
Yeah,
Max,
yeah.
uh,
WHW.
yes, and WHW, the what, how, and why. What happened to the STAR method? Because some of us have used the STAR method in the past. So I just want to know, is it inadequate at this point? What are your
So,
advice on the STAR method?
so STAR method is mostly for verbal stuff,
Mm.
right? STAR method works really well when you are building stories in your statement of purpose. So you talk about the situation, the task, the action you took, and the results. Now, someone has said starry. There is an I now. Not just the results, the impact as well,
Okay. Okay.
right? So STAR method works, but for resumes, you talk about your SAS, right?
Wow. So I think we are, or I personally am out of touch because I did not know that we've added an I, and it makes a lot of sense to talk about the impact of your work, as well. So thank you for the information. This is really, really helpful. We will open the chats and the Zoom for questions. If you have a question that you want to ask Richmond directly, please raise your hand. I'll call on upon you. You're mute and you ask a question. Please don't feel shy. No question is wrong, or no question is dumb. No question is too small or too big. Ask any questions that you may be struggling with at all. The Zoom is yours, the room is yours. Richmond is here to put to rest all the questions that you have about your CVs and your statement of purposes. Come on, guys, give us some questions, throw some questions our way. Before I start naming names, um, Frances. Okay, so first we have Frances, then Lois also has a question, and as well as Kojo. So we'll take Frances first. Frances, please go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to find out when during the presentation when you showed us a sample of the academic resume, there were lots of sections like your awards, community engagements and stuff like that. So I wanted to know if I don't have I I I think I don't have a lot of those sections in like awards, and I don't have any community engagement stuff. Do you personally know people who are qualified only with their statements of purpose, sort of generic academic resume, personal statements, since those things kind of hold a lot of value in the long run?
So what
Is
I
my
would say
question
is,
very good?
as I indicated earlier, it depends on the scholarship you are applying to. I've had, let me give you a quick example. The medical professional that I helped, who got Howard University, a medical doctor, of course, she came in, she didn't have any research experience. I think the only research experience was also part of her job. They did a research, her boss did a research that she just helped gather data for, right? But then the program was not research based. So it's actually very important. If you are looking for research-based program, that it means you should have research experience. If you are looking for programs that value academia, your excellence, your like you are a very good student. For instance, let's say you are applying for which DAAD, the DAD scholarship. It's highly academia. So if you're not a first class student or even a second class upper student who has a lot of accolades like leadership experience in school, has won some awards in school, I wouldn't recommend that scholarship to you. So as I said, you have to be able to understand the mission of your scholarship scheme, understand what they are up for, what they are looking for. Then you vet yourself. If you qualify, then you apply. So the CV I put out, the template I put out, is not exhaustive. It's actually just a template. You can tweak it, you can take some part out, you can tailor it to fit whatever it is that you want to use it for. But it's just a template. It follows these basic principles that we've put out there. I hope I have been able to answer your question.
Frances, are you still with us? Okay, so our next question is okay. So Lois has just thrown a different angle into the chat, which is saying the personal statement and the motivational letter. What's the difference?
Yeah. So, frankly, I won't lie to you. Every school, every scholarship, when they want you to write a particular letter or a particular document, mostly they provide you a description for it, mostly. So a personal statement, as I said, it has a bit of a personal touch. As I gave you the example about my friend who spoke about what intrigued him about environmental science from his childhood when he was in primary school, right? That's a personal statement. Now, a motivational letter is more like a statement of purpose. What is the motivation behind you applying for this particular scholarship or even the program? How does your experiences, your qualifications qualify for this? How is it relevant, right? Why should we even consider you for this scholarship? So tell us what sparks your interest in the scholarship in the first place. That is a motivational letter. Most often than not, you realize that motivational letters are similar to statement of purposes or statement of intent. Some will say statement of interests. So there are several names that is used for it.
Okay, so basically Richmond is saying, regardless of the name, is the same animal. So he has given us the tools to navigate that. And Kojo would like to know what are the common mistakes to avoid in a statement of purpose?
Don't be generic. That's a basic mistake we all make. Don't be generic. That's why I've taken us through how you can tailor your statement of purpose. Because remember, the purpose of a statement of purpose is to tell them why you are different from all the others, right? Why are you different from all the others? So at the end of the day, if you are giving them generic answers, then you are literally telling them you are not different. And go straight to the point. A lot of people would go with, I am passionate about education. What shows? Give examples. Examples. So you, just as Eric asked me, using the STAR approach, tell a story. So when you read the statement of purpose I projected, you realize that it's just a story. You are telling a story, but it has to be captivating. When the person starts reading, they would want to know more. And that's when they will invite you for interview to learn more, right? So when they see your story, they should be able to tie your story to the scholarship. Wow, okay, this scholarship is looking at building leaders. This person has done this. They were able to influence 20 people. The example I gave, they were able to influence 20 people, even though they were an intern. Remember, leadership is not about a position, right? It's about your ability to influence people for a change, right? So you being able to do that and you are able to communicate that is your distinctive factor. It's what makes you stand out. And if you don't do that, you are making a mistake. So address the mission, the problem, align your values to what the scholarship is about. A lot of people just put out, now in the age of AI is a very good tool to build statement of purposes. Very good tool. But your ability to tailor it, your ability to be able to not make it generic. Because if you leave AI that, oh, I'm applying for this scholarship, build a statement of purpose for me. Trust me, to build a good statement of purpose, but it is trash because it will be generic. You should add that personal touch, like edit it, put in a personal feel. Let the people know that this is personal for you. And for me, that would be some of the mistakes that I would say we should ignore or eliminate from writing our statement of purposes.
Yes. So I was just checking. Hi, Richmond.
Yes, I'm here. I
Sorry.
just saw a question in the chat section, and I think it's very interesting.
Oh, okay. I was checking Facebook to see if we have any questions, but all we have is applause and comments on how well you're doing. We don't have any question on Facebook, but we do have more questions on Zoom here. So which question did you notice and you wanted to address?
So someone asked, how much weight does storytelling carry compared to lesson achievements or goals in an SOP? As I just said, storytelling is what keeps your reader going. If you don't tell them the story and you list your achievements, they don't care about the achievements. You have to make sure that when they start reading, they don't want to stop. Put that at the back of your mind. When they start reading, they don't have to stop. That's why you use the STAR approach. Now, some people say the STARry approach. So let me give you a typical example. Let's say you want to address an issue you want to talk about in your statement of purpose, right? The program is looking for, the scholarship is looking for leaders, Chevening. I keep using Chevening. Chevening is looking for people who will be future leaders, and tell them how you've demonstrated this in the past, right? Chevening's essay, that's the first essay, leadership and influence. Now, just get at most, some people even use one story, at most, because you are writing 500 words, at most 2 stories. Tell them, okay, what was the situation? I'm going to use myself for example. Something I did, if I was applying to Chevening, I am in my company, I realized that there is no standardized, because we do, my role requires that we manage change, so change management, right? And I realized that because it's a fast-paced environment, we manage change on the go. So at the end of the day, there is no standard process for change management. I realized that I'm not the manager. I could have just said, well, they don't know, so I'm there. Now, as a forward-thinking person, I look at, okay, how can I change this situation? Because we need to track our changes that we implement. We need to track it. So I think about it, I research, then I go to my manager, present the idea to her, and she goes like, okay, build it out. So one, I've been able to influence my manager to agree to me building a change management system. I'm no leader, but I have demonstrated leadership quality. So my story will go with, I will just literally say this in the story. At so and so, in one of our meetings, I realized that the company does not track change. And whenever you are building the story, the situation should tell us the problem, how that is a problem. Because remember, at the end of the day, the impact is a solution. You end with a result and an impact, the solution, right? So what was the problem, right? So tell us the situation. So at the end of the day, you speak about the situation, the STAR approach, the situation. What task? Now the task is I have to build a change management framework. Okay, what approach did I use? I gathered research, I read online, so I did a desk review research, right? I did that, then I leveraged AI, and I tailored it to our systems internally and our corporate governance structure, approval, whoever is going to approve the change request and all that. I did that. I built the framework. That is the action. What was the result? At the end of the day, a whole new framework has been built for our change management, and a form has been built as well. So that is the outcome. A form has been built. Now we are able to, our change management process has been streamlined. So there's actually a process. You know that you move from A to B. At first, it wasn't there. So I have streamlined the change management process for the company, right? Now, the impact will be that if we implement a change management using that process and it actually benefited the company, I can talk about that impact. So now I can go that, 3 months ago, the company ran a change using this framework, and let's say we're able to save $100,000 of an internal tool we've been using because we followed the process. That is an impact, right? So I have spoken about my leadership with a story, and that is what Shivanan is looking for. Your ability to show your leadership. Tell your story whilst telling us the results and the impacts. And can you give an example of a compelling opening or introduction to an SOP? Wow. Some people prefer to use quotes. Others prefer to use what the scholarship means to them. Others prefer to speak about the program they are applying to. So one of the people I've worked with, how we started was how the master's program is important to her, right? So we spoke about that, and we spoke about the qualifications they have and how that is tied to the master's program. So it depends. It depends on the program and how you want to go about it. So you can use a quote, a general quote. You can use a definition of something, right, and align. I remember some years back, I helped a friend apply for a master's in environmental engineering to University of Leeds. And the opening was a quote by one environmentalist that was tied to the program. So the quote was, protecting the environment is as equally as important as something like that, something in those lines. So it was a quote by an American environmentalist. So we quoted that. And he said that quote has been ringing in his mind ever since he came across it, right? And that is why blah, 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 blah. Then he went on. So your opening should be tied to whatever you want to do. How do tone or language affect the strength of an SOP? Should it be formal, passionate, humble, or assertive? I'll say firstly, it has to be formal but passionate. You can be formal and passionate at the same time. Some institutions, that is also a very key thing to determine when you apply, and your country of choice matters. Recently, I helped someone apply to, it wasn't a scholarship, it was a work conference thing that he was applying to. And he made me understand that the company culture is assertive. So you have to speak boldly. But I know if it's a Ghanaian company, it's a different thing. If you're assertive, you are presumed to be proud, right? So you have to understand the culture context of wherever you're applying to as well. That's why the country bit is important. You need to understand the context in all those things. How do you effectively explain gaps or weaknesses in your academic record within an SOP? So let's say, for instance, it's just a story. Tell your story. Why the gap? What happened? Then tie it down to why that is important for your future, right? Tell the story. Why the gap? Don't just leave it blank, but tell the story. So you start at a point, you reach a certain point, tie the gap to the previous one, and tie it to what you are looking for the future. So for me, that's how you effectively communicate a gap. But I'm not sure mostly SOPs would ask you to tell about your academic gap. Maybe a program that should take you 4 years, you used 5 years. That would, I'm not sure that, because SOPs are basically, you should talk about your fit for the program, not necessarily your gaps. But if it requires that you speak about your academic gaps, as I said, tie it to how the thought behind it. Maybe you took a gap to, let's say you're applying for an MBA. Maybe you took a gap to run your own business for a year. Tell that story and align it to how that business that you run for the year is important for the MBA you are applying for. And you're good to go. All right. I think there are no more questions. Thanks a lot, Eric, for having me.
Thank you so much, Richmond, for such an amazing session.